Welcome to The Arena, a show about real estate, finance, and the boots on the ground making it happen every day. It's a battle out there. We want to bring you people that are going to help you fight and win that battle. And today, you're in for a treat. Someone I've known for a very long time. I've watched her grow in real estate. She's now one of the biggest, runs one of the biggest teams in South Jersey, managing broker at Keller Williams Main Street, which is in Collingswood, New Jersey, and owns and runs Home Key Real Estate Group. This is Tara Hendricks.
Hi, Matt.
By the way, every time you walk into the office, you want me to do that?
Yes, every time, every single time.
It's okay. I practiced it now. I'm good. Okay.
Or make a nice sign. Just anything that has my name is great.
What about like at the clubs where, you know, they have the signs of the girls?
I love it.
With the sparkling champagne bottles and everything. All right.
That sounds like your dream.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Let's be real.
Yeah,
it is.
It is.
Go back to the DJ days.
Right.
So, wow, you just got off doing your biggest year. And I know we've been friends a long time now.
Right.
60 million?
Mm-hmm.
A little over that?
Fun.
That's, I mean,
Yeah.
people probably hear that and they're like, what does that even mean? I, with the average real estate agent doing maybe one or two deals a year, I think that's pretty good, right?
I mean, it was a great year. It's never good enough for me, though. So I always want to, production should be higher in my brain, I guess. But we had an awesome year. I have an awesome team. So.
Well, and it was a big regrouping year. I know
It was.
and it wasn't an easy market.
And it was the first year that I had a completely separate role as well as managing broker with the team. So it's balancing the two.
Yeah, and we're going to get to that. We're going to get to how to be a team leader. What's the difference of a single agent running a team? What are the benefits? You are doing so many listings and you're in the market like as heavy as I've ever seen you. So the first thing I want to talk about was just what's going on with the market. I think everybody's always looking, if you're ever talking to somebody in public or, at parties or whatever, what's the first thing they probably ask you, right?
I mean, I could be sitting on the beach and I get asked that question. So
like, oh, you're a realtor.
I'm a realtor. They know, how is it? So it really depends on the area for one. And right now the house, it's a multiple offer situation on every single listing. There's a ton of buyers versus sellers. Inventory is still at an all-time low in every county surrounding us. So, when you're talking about having a month and a half of supply, doesn't really matter what the rate is. Buyers need to buy houses. There's not enough of them out there.
So what does that mean? I think, again, a lot of people hear there's a month, 2 months, 3 months of supply. What does that mean?
So the supply doesn't match the buyers. You have a lot of buyers that are out, and you only basically have a month and a half of inventory that to sustain the amount of buyers, but you have like triple the amount for every home. We have probably, I think the last weekend we had 23 offers on one home.
Oh my God.
23.
So what if people are watching this and look, if someone's watching, I call it the Good Morning America effect.
Mm-hmm.
When rates were dropping, Good Morning America and all the media outlets, they start reporting the same kind of stuff. Mortgages are at an all-time low, a 3-year low, and now's the time to refi. Now's the time to get into the market. And then, sure enough, we start getting calls and emails and people wanting more information.
Right.
Now the opposite's happening a little bit, where rates have gone up because of the Iran conflict that's going on.
Right.
So because mortgage rates ticked up a quarter, maybe 3/8, not a ton, but they've ticked up. And today I saw in Good Morning America, rates are higher. It's costing you more money. So for the people that are watching this stuff and they're thinking, how do I time the market? What do you tell them?
Well, you don't time the market for one. It really, there's some points on both ends, right? In a buyer's market and a seller's market, why you should buy, why you should not buy. The reality is that right now, you're probably going to pay a little bit over appraisal value, but the next listing agent is going to take that home, price it at that appraisal value, and they're going to get $20,000 more. So your investment's going to grow because the inventory is so low. You're not even close to the amount of inventory in this area to bring it over to the other side. Not even close.
You hit it on the head. This is what I want to talk about. And I just feel like there's a big misconception here because you have real estate value and you have appraisal value. Now, as a lender, We care about the appraisal value. That's the value that we lend on. That's the collateral that we're holding in order to offer you lots and lots of money.
Right.
But you're in a different end of the spectrum. You're worried, yes, about the appraised value, but you also have to take into consideration the real estate value. So can you explain how you do that?
So the real estate value is, what are the buyers willing to pay for the home? I hear from appraisers all the time, we're controlling the market, we're driving the prices up. I don't believe that. I believe if you have a zillion buyers for one home and they're going to compete and pay that amount, that is the real estate value of the home. The appraisal value is the value that they're taking from the last 8 or 9 listings that sold and what's the median of that. But that's consistently going up, because there aren't enough listings in each development, so drives it up, and that is the new value, the new real estate value, which also then drives the appraisal value up.
Right. And when people wonder, how is it possible that values continue to go higher and higher and higher? And again, these are people that are hoping one day it crashes,
right?
Hoping that there's at least a breather so that they can get in and get a good deal, right? What do we say to those people? Like, what is it that in order to make them realize that waiting is not the best idea? Why do you say that?
So, for one, you're going to say, if that time is ever coming, which I don't believe that it is, it's not coming anytime soon, because the values are consistently going up. Actually, you can run reports like through the MLS, through other avenues, and you can see that in the last week, values have gone up in Camden County, in Gloucester County, in Burlington County, in all the counties that surround us. So I don't know that there's ever not a great time to buy a home. And I think that a lot of things weigh into it too. What is it costing you to not buy a home? That's more the question. Like, is it you're moving because of a job, a career, marriage, had another baby? Like, what is it costing you not to have that next home? I don't see it changing anytime soon. I think that, unfortunately, I bought my first home in 2004, and a year later it was worth $100,000 less. And it took me 13 years to sell it for what I bought it for. That's a bad real estate investment.
You and I both. I bought my first home in 2006, and I lost a fortune when things crashed. And the reason is because there was a ton of inventory. There was an oversupply. It's like 8 months, 9 months worth.
And it wasn't
inventory.
About the rate. Can we agree?
It wasn't
about the rate.
Nope.
This scenario is you're buying a home, and by the end of the summer, it could be worth $20,000 more than where you bought it at the beginning of the summer.
Yeah.
Because what's happening is they're using that last comp to price. Good agents are using that. So the values are going up.
So let's talk about sellers for a second. If there's someone that's watching this and they're a COVID buyer, right? So they're locked in at that awesome rate.
Everyone loves it.
Even before COVID, rates were still great, in the fours, right? So you're someone though that you're pretty darn comfortable with your payment, but you're not comfortable in the neighborhood or the house or the size or whatever it is. Like you said, maybe you had a few kids or you got a new job, you're making some more money, you can afford more. What do you say to them that, because I know you have this conversation, but what's the main points that you're making to them?
So, for one, the rate's not coming back anytime soon, if it ever does in our lifetime. And the reality is, if you're cashing out the rate, people automatically think you're taking on debt, right? But are you taking on debt? They're using that rate. They're erasing the fact that if you bought during COVID, your home is worth significantly more, right? So you have all that money.
You won.
Like, that is a win. What happened to me on my first home was not a win. That's a win. So you're taking that money and you're putting it into a bigger, more expensive home. And let's face facts. How many people do you know that keep a 30-year mortgage? They don't. They refi,
I think it's every 5 to 7 years someone's going to refinance.
I've never kept a 30-year mortgage. We've always refied. I refi to get that awesome rate back when it was a 3 or 2.6, whatever it was. But but you're not going to keep it. You are really dating the rate. You're going to refi, and what that price is right this minute doesn't mean it's going to be there in 5 years.
Well, it's something I've always looked at real estate in a very different way. If you want to be in a certain area, you have a certain price range,
right?
And you have, the bigger your list is of non-negotiables, the smaller that field is. So if you want to buy in the next 12 months, there's only going to be X number of houses listed
True.
in that time, right? In that criteria.
Right.
So if you're not ready to pull the trigger at a moment's notice, you're probably going to miss out on that. And then when's the next time you're going to see that house? Worse yet, now you're going to probably have to make all these big concessions.
Right.
Well, I guess I can go to this town or to that town. And now you might have just cost yourself a life. Think about it, for your children, for your family, in growing that. You
Right.
could have been in one area that could have been this whole life and set off generations to go, or you're in another area, all because you just weren't willing to pay a little extra for a house, right?
Right. And it's all about location. Like, that's the first part of it. And, the locations that are hot, you have to compete. You have to compete with the price of the home and to get that home. It's part of it.
You had said something that you have all your agents ask buyers.
Yeah.
And that was, what is the dollar amount that you're willing to lose on this house? For you losing this house.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
What is the dollar amount worth it to you to lose this house that you're looking at? If it's 5,000, let's go up 5. If it's 10, let's go up 10. I think you have to have that conversation with the buyer, because if they miss that house isn't coming up again. There isn't one around the corner like there was in 2004. There wasn't a million in every development. And areas are very important to people. Also,
let's go back to the fact that so many sellers have won, where if you bought in the mid 2000s,
Right.
when we didn't win. And I was so jealous of the generation just before me that made $100,000, $200,000 in a very short amount of time and rolled that over and went from a condo townhouse to a single family. And I'm like, man, that must have been nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's like found money. And here I am. I had to keep my house. I rented it. I paid it down. And eventually, a decade later, I was able to sell it. But the difference between then and now, we had extremely loose lending practices. I know. I might have been partially to blame for the downfall of the economy. I was giving out mortgages that I never should have given. I didn't know any better. I wanted to move out of my mom's house. So I needed a job, and Wall Street backed it. I was just out on the floor, and my younger guys were asking, was it really true that you could just make up what your income was? I said, not only was it true, I literally would have people write on a piece of paper, I, Matt Boyce, make $10,000 a month washing dogs' asses. and that was it. I could use that as income. That's how crazy it was. I'm not even exaggerating. It was that crazy. And so if I verified my assets, that was like a big deal. I got a better rate. I didn't have to verify anything. So people literally were buying $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 houses with almost nothing out of pocket, no income proven, no assets proven. Didn't matter where you got your money. So all these people were in these houses that shouldn't have been in there. That's what fueled the boom back then. And all these builders built. They started all this inventory. And then the financial collapse happened. It wasn't a real estate collapse. It was a financial collapse. So when all that went away, and again, I was part of it, it sucked. Out of the ashes rose much better lending practices. Anybody that's getting a mortgage now it deserves that mortgage. Appraisals. I'm not going to lie. I think, what's the statute of limitations? But I used to take my appraisers out for happy hours and market and network with them. And then I knew who to call to get the values here and there. That's not how it works anymore.
No.
So overall, everything for the past now 15, 16 years has been strict. People that are getting financing should get financing. And so that crash isn't going to happen again.
No.
So that's where I think people need to realize that you don't be afraid of inventory suddenly skyrocketing, your house values going down. It's not going to happen anytime soon.
It's not going to happen anytime soon. we're further away from it, I think, in this area than people think.
Yeah, especially this area.
Mhm.
So wanted to go into the hot story that's right now, and that is the portal wars. I don't know. Is that what they're calling it?
I mean, they should be calling it that. So
just today, we just got news that Zillow and Keller Williams,
Right.
along with, I think, Remax, a couple other people,
and Berkshire.
they're teaming up.
Mm-hmm.
And this is on the heels of Compass, another brokerage, partnering with Redfin, and a couple other people.
Coldwell Banker.
And they teamed up.
Right.
And then I think there's another one, which was EXP. That's right.
Today.
EXP just came out and said they're partnering with Homes.com, Realtor.com, and ComeHome.com, which I've never heard of.
Right.
But what's going on?
So Compass started this, right? You know, we realized that the big fight for the private exclusive and just Compass agents can sell their listings. And, you know, I can give my opinion on that in a few minutes. But the point is, if you have that out there and they partner with Redfin's it's a big avenue to advertise listings. And what happens to the other agents? You know, let me ask you a question. If the top agent in your area is a Berkshire Hathaway agent, I won't even say Keller Williams, and you are listing a private exclusive with a Compass agent, are you getting the best price for your house? You know, when you have an agent that is the top in the area is Berkshire, they're probably going to bring you the best offers with the most buyers, but you can't sell with them. And they're unfortunately winning this battle. So other brokerages, what do? They have to come out swinging and they have to compete, right? So Keller Williams, Remax, and Berkshire competed, and, you know, they joined with Zillow because Zillow is 4 times the platform of Redfin, right? So let's get the bigger guy involved. And then EXP comes out and does the same thing today with like Homes.com and Realtor.com. The issue is, how are you finding a house? Are you going to every single portal? Are you going to work with an agent that has their own?
No, and in the end, more competition is going to get better values. That's what's good for the sellers.
That is absolutely. I mean, the difference between the two, you know, an exclusive listing, I am all for it because I believe in our profession. I believe in what we do. I know that I know how to structure a great offer and I know how to prepare a buyer, you know, for that offer, those extras that sellers are getting right now. Realtors bring the best offers to sellers. So I'm okay with an exclusive idea where all agents see the listings, you know, first, and they're putting the offers in. But private exclusive, when you're limiting the whole avenue to one brokerage, I don't really think that there's a benefit there.
No, and there's a difference because some of these would be like the Zillow preview that they're coming out with.
Right.
That's for a coming soon status.
Right.
That means once it's out of that status, it's on all the public.
And it's also giving, let's not forget about the fact that, you know, it's giving the listing agent an avenue to market the listing because there's going to be a way when it's advertised on that preview to contact the listing agent, click here. So the person that's selling the house for the seller is the listing agent. They are the best person to sell the house, to market it, answer questions about it. You're supposed to be able to reach them. And in the past, a lot of these portals haven't allowed that.
Well, and it's only going to get, I think, worse from here because let's go way back. And I did a little research. The MLSs, the multiple listing services,
right,
which that's how you have to search for houses, they actually came around in the 1800s. That's how long ago it goes back. Because back before that, it was just like this brokerage had their listings, that brokerage, this agent, this, and people didn't even know it was out there. How would you?
Right.
And so I want to buy across town or another town. They don't even know if anything's for sale. So they created these things. And then when Zillow came around, they just thought, well, we need to be able to be more visible with technology coming out. This is when the iPhone first came out and people were on their phones more, on their computers more. And Zillow came around and they thought, all right, we'll collaborate with these people. Not really realizing they just spawned this multi-billion-dollar evil empire.
Right. I mean, essentially.
So now it's all about, well, let's face it, it's about leads. And so
It's always about leads.
it's about access to these
Right.
properties. Where are people looking? Okay. It used to be that people could drive around. They see a sign sitting on the lawn. They call that agent. That's how they knew that houses
Right.
for sale. And you could still do that.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. But most people now, they just want to go on their phone. They want to click a few buttons. They want to get the information, do 90% of the work themselves. And yeah, if I have to, I'll use some licensed agent. Who cares? That's people's mentality.
Right.
We're in this society now where anything you want, you just pick up your phone and you order it. Like I just ordered a whole couch outdoor patio set, right? You know, I didn't even have to, just two clicks, it's going to be delivered.
I don't know the last time I was in a store.
Yeah.
Honestly. I mean, it's too easy to just order everything, you know, and it comes to your door. And you're right. People use the iPhone. They do all their own research. They're calling the agent. They're telling the agent everything about this house before the agent's even doing what is essentially their job.
Well, they think they are.
Right.
They're on ChatGPT or Claude or on all the AI going, hey, I'm thinking about buying this address. Do all the research for me on it. Pull all the comps up. Tell me about the neighborhood. Tell me all these things.
Right.
And then it tells them and they go, oh, this has to be true.
True.
Well, tell me why that's not true.
So, for one, there's a million different search engines that can pull a million different facts. I mean, just for fun, I put my name into some of the search engines just to see what comes up about Tara Hendricks, right? And I discovered that
Did it pull up like your stripping career?
it did. Yeah, all my past stuff came up. It was hard to read.
We can leave that in.
But it was interesting to find out that facts about me that weren't true at all. Like I was the #1 agent in a town that I sold one property in, you know what I mean? So it's essentially the same thing. You know, you're going to often there's pages, I put a listing in and I'll look it up on a portal and it says it's bank owned or the taxes are off. It doesn't always have the right information. Like agents are needed. You know, they're needed. They're needed for more than just that. I mean, when you buy real estate, there's an emotional reason attached to it. You know, it's having a baby, it's a death, it's a marriage. There's a reason, there's a relocation. You need an agent that's experienced in all of those things to keep the deal running, to know when emotion doesn't need to be involved in it, when they're making a smart decision, when they're not. I mean, they're needed still. Those portals are just a loose version of the home.
Well, isn't that why everyone's been so against the Zestimate and all those types of valuations since day one?
Yeah.
It's gives you a good idea. I mean, it's definitely useful to just have that idea. But when you're getting down to physically, you're selling and buying hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of real estate.
Right.
You just can't trust a computer. Maybe, hey, one day. You know what? Never want to say never, but this is a place you're physically going to live at, right? This is a neighborhood you're going to be growing up in. You're raising your kids in. How do you really know what it's like without being the boots on the ground?
You don't. I mean, just for a story, I'll take a listing. I took my own home. I looked up what the Zestimate of it was, and I did like a soft, just a couple showings, just wanted to see, what, and I got 2 offers out of 3 showings, and both offers were like $200,000 over what Zillow said my home was worth. So for one, I don't ever allow the Zestimate to be in any of my listings. I'm pricing that with the seller against the market, against what the home looks like. How much do you have to put in? Is if every system in the home is old, Zillow doesn't know that. Zillow doesn't know that, like, the heater, the air conditioner, the roof, all the windows need to be replaced. They have no idea. Nothing. They know nothing about the home. So they can't price it. It's impossible for them to price it.
That right there is, I think, something that will always be needed. An expert, somebody that's walked through hundreds, if not thousands of homes, that could walk through and say, this was done right, this was not, this is going to cost you a fortune.
Right.
This won't. And I've done it, you walk through houses and you're going, well, it's almost perfect. I'll just knock that wall down, or I'll just do this, or I'll just add this. And they don't realize that just could be $100,000.
Right. I mean, listen, even for sellers, it pays to always have an agent. I have a listing that I signed that's actually in Medford, very pricey listing. And I, went to see the home and I looked at the history, and it happened to be that this owner owned it from day one. So I also knew that the septic was there from day one. And, you're talking something that could be a $40,000 thing. And I explained it to them and they asked me what to do. And I said, let's have a septic inspection. Let's know what we're looking at, because you want this to be quick. This way, if it's going, let's get the estimate, let's pay the estimate off, and let's settle quicker, Let's ward off the problem, because these people need to sell fast, Zillow's not going to know that.
I could do it. Well, let's actually talk about the root of a lot of problems that people have right now about real estate, and that's specifically about agents.
Right.
And I think that there's a lot of people out there that haven't gone through the process in a while or have never gone through it, and they're just sitting here going, what is the real value of an agent? So what's the biggest misconceptions that you're seeing right now?
So unfortunately, like over the last few years, commissions are different. That's a lot of changing. You're seeing all these portals pop up. You're seeing the way listings are displayed being differently. It's confusing. I mean, if I was a seller and I never did real estate, I would be like, what do? I don't know. And with that, you're hearing a lot of criticism about agents, not being forthcoming, not being ethical. Like, that was the lawsuit about commissions. It was that, people didn't disclose that commission is negotiable. I've displayed that commission is negotiable from day one.
It's always been negotiable.
I mean, the New Jersey listing contracts said it. Like, this wasn't things that happen everywhere, and it was displayed that way. And in every career, there's bad. In every career, it doesn't matter, what it is. There's physicians that are not great and there's ones that are really great. It's about doing your research. If you have an agent with like a high amount of sales and great reviews, I highly doubt that they're not educating the seller or the buyer. They're there to help them. They're there to get the job done. And I think it's just about what your research is.
Well, the big saying is who you work with matters.
Absolutely.
Now, watching you go from agent to then broker, which if people don't know, what does that really mean?
So the broker's a great job because it's not the studying and the test part of it, but doing it for the last year, I get to be in front of all of the problems, right? Like all of the things that come up that you want to solve them. You want, at the end of the day, something closed. You want the buyer and seller to both be happy. You want the agent to be safe, both agents, So I see everything bad that can happen. Every mistake that an agent can make, every mistake that a buyer or seller can make, and how to come up with a solution for them. So this part of it just makes me more knowledgeable. It makes me, in my own business, I definitely made some changes,
Well, what are some of the most surprising things you've seen since becoming a broker?
So you definitely will have agents that are new or newer, when you're not in a brokerage that like is preparing you and the education's not there, making really valid mistakes, because the whole purpose of the deal, like from day one, is the preparation. That's what your job is as an agent. If you're preparing properly, you're warding off issues, right? If you're not and you're giving them the false information, that's when issues arise. That's when I was told this.
Setting it wrong expectation.
And even though the contract, you'll have an agent that will not say it's time to book inspections, and it's the agent's fault, even though there's paragraphs in the contract that they're signing that says you need to get a home inspection.
Who reads contracts?
They don't. So, it's just about the prep. I think that my team preps buyers and sellers really well from start to finish, and I think that is what leads them to success.
Well, let's talk about your team.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have watched, again, you grow this team, and you started off with a handful, and now how many people do you have total?
We have a total of 11.
You have 11 people on the team.
Yeah.
So what's the value of being on a team?
So I can't speak for every team because every team is, run differently. I've had agents that come onto my team and they're like, this is amazing. Like, my last team was awful. I think it depends on the structure of the team. The value to be on my team, well, you're pretty much out selling. and that's all you're doing. And you have someone that is experienced with every problem you could ever imagine there to step in to help you solve it. It depends if the team is lead generating business, is it bringing business to you? Is it not? That's something I try to do every day. Like I actually just said this morning, I have 2 jobs. It's to bring in business and it's to solve problems. Everything else should be someone else's job, and
Because that's your highest and best use.
that's my highest and best use. It's when I bring the most to the team.
So that's something that I think we've always aligned on, which was, look, I realized early on what my biggest value was, and that's just developing long-lasting partnerships
Right.
with people in real estate, whether it's agents, builders, flippers, whoever, investors, attorneys, it doesn't matter. I love building these relationships. And that's really life.
Right.
I mean, life in general is just networking and meeting new people and seeing how you can align with them. But what I wasn't good at was the paperwork. When the deals came in and the business came in, being able to structure it and submit it properly and doing all the things that you need to do to make sure it's successful. I wasn't great at it. I wasn't, and I had to admit it. So early on, I started hiring people that were way better than I was, and that was their highest and best use. So everybody at Maximus, the whole team, they all have their role and they stay in it. And then that way they can focus on what's important. They're not doing everything, because then they're going to be running scattered and they're going to burn out.
Right.
But together, I mean, it's Henry Ford and the assembly line. It's no different than that. So I think if you're a buyer, you're a seller, you're someone looking to get a mortgage from someone like us, you can expect efficiency and a great experience.
Right.
If they're going with you guys, they could expect the consistency of everyone doing their job. So I work with a lot of agents. I have individual agents. We have ones that are on teams and everything. I think that anybody organized in getting a support system around them, they're going to be successful.
Right.
What I see with a team like yours is you're willing to hire the money. And I know it costs a lot of money. I know that you could easily just keep everything and try to run it that way and just run yourself ragged, but you have an entire staff. And that's what I've seen with a lot of agents that run teams. They invest in people that are going to support them and the rest of their agents.
Right.
So talk to me a little bit about your structure and how you have it.
I'm a complete systems person. So we have systems literally for everything. I've tried every year to take more off my plate so that I'm just out there producing business. And at this point, if you're an agent on my team, you're coming in and you're showing houses and you're putting offers in, and you're managing the deal. But we have a full transaction coordination team. We have marketing, social media, listing team, and we have a director of operations that runs everything else, helps the team members that are producing at high levels with anything really that they need done, and just the organization of communication with all of the sellers, buyers, keeping everything aligned. I mean, I try really hard to remember that, and speaking as someone who's going to be selling their home soon, selling a home is stressful. It's emotional, it's stressful, no matter how great the agent is, right? So you want to keep everything moving and calm and easy. So that is what we do. Communication, making it as easy as possible. And that's how we do it. I mean.
So I also see, we were talking about this earlier, how every summer, for example, you take a month and you head down the shore.
I do.
And you would think that, things would fall off the rails and there'd be issues and everything. But every time you do it, everything still runs just fine.
It does.
And I see you come back, you have to obviously take meetings. But for people watching this, especially in real estate, that are just hustling right now and they feel like they don't get a minute to themselves, what do you tell them? At what point can they start pulling back a little bit and taking, there's never a real balance. That's how I think.
There's never a real balance. I love it when people say that, like a balance.
But you can still have a life.
You can have a life. You can be, what do they say, intentionally present for the things that you want to be. And I get to be that. I get to have that. And, a month at the shore with my kids, that's me being intentionally present. It's something that's important to me. Being there for move-ins for college or, family weekends, all of that stuff. I do all of it, and I enjoy my life, So for me, it depends. I think that every year I take on someone new, as production gets higher, you need more people, because there's more things to do. There's more deals to close. So, hiring someone for that, you have to put money into it. It's part of running a team. It's part of growing bigger, I guess.
Well, yeah. And our industries are very similar. And there's a lot of loan officers out there that are working every single day. Because if you're focused on purchase business, you're dealing with buyers and you're working the same hours that they and their agents are working, which happens to be a lot of nights and weekends.
Right. But then the team leader also has to manage that, right? So I'm always checking up, are our systems working? Is this the way this is running? Is it smooth? And making sure that you're following through. That's how I can be on the beach.
Well, I actually want to dive in because I think that you have done something that I've seen very few people do over the 10, 15 years I've been into technology and systems and all of that, which is, all right, CRMs, okay? Our favorite topic.
Right.
Right when Zillow was coming out, we were trying to compete with them and we had leads and people coming through and we were just trying to engage better with clients to keep them updated and want to, talk to us, talk to you. We started messing around with CRMs. And the first thing you did wasn't, Matt, train everybody about CRMs. The first thing you did was you learned everything there was to learn about the system, about our theory of engaging better, what to send them, how to text, how to email. You learned it first, then started teaching the team.
Yes. I mean, I am a rule follower, I guess, right? So my whole philosophy is there is nothing on that team that they do that I have not done or do not know how to do. So they can never say to me, well, you're not doing this, but I did.
The whole do as I say, not as I do.
But I did. And leaders, I think as a whole, you're supposed to grow leaders. You can't grow a leader if you don't know what they're doing, or if you weren't in the trenches doing the same thing. I'm a firm believer in that. So everything that they do, I do. I read a ton, so I always know what's going on. First thing I look at in the morning is rates. Second thing I look at is the 3 counties connected to us, and I see, did values go up? I have reports sent to me every morning for all of this. Running a team isn't much different than running a brokerage. It's the same thing. What works, what doesn't, what's growing production, what's not. And it's about actually having a business plan, and implementing it every year and adding to it. I know for this coming year, most of our additions will be social media. My next big spend will be that, AI, social media, where's that going? I mean, I literally have taken every class you could involving in that because I want us to stay ahead of it because it's something that's coming.
Yeah, I would say it's already here.
It's here, but it's going to become a little bit bigger.
Yes.
I think so. And
Agreed.
It's supposed to enhance the agent, not take over the agent. That's what you're doing.
It's a tool.
It's a tool.
It's a tool.
To make you better.
Now, people are going to try to use AI just to do everything.
They are.
Now, you already see it, though. Think about it. When ChatGPT first came in the market, you could go in there and say, write me a post about the market and what's going on and why people should contact me.
Right.
And it would write it. And you post it and people are like, wow, Matt, you write so eloquently. That's amazing. Now you can tell when it's AI, right?
You can, but it also has me wondering why I'm paying 2 college tuitions.
Yeah.
Because what is happening,
the
right?
parties are pretty good.
I know. Other than the parties, I don't know what I'm paying it for because the reality is you can find out almost anything, right? ChatGPT, Gemini, you can run it through. I mean, there's a million others that real estate agents use and you can find out anything. But this is the thing. Again, you're buying and selling real estate for a reason that's close to your heart. There's a reason you're doing it, right? And you need a human being to facilitate it. So for me, like AI has to accentuate what we already have, right? It's going to make us better and embrace that, and learn about it. I don't truly believe you're ever going to be able to sell a home without a human being, without a person. I'd like to see them try it, but I just don't see where it's too much of an emotional experience.
Yeah, I could see rentals and things like that. People just looking and going, kind of like Carvana. And you go, oh, okay, yeah, that one looks fine. I don't really care. But if you're going to raise your family there, and I mean, it's such a personal thing. It really is.
Listen, I'll tell you a secret. I pride myself in listing. I am listing heavy. We have a ton of listings signed already. Pricing it, I can almost do it to the T. I'll price a listing at the appraisal value because the goal is, right, get over that amount in a seller's market with little repairs. There's a lot of perks to a seller's market. But when it came to my own house, my vision was clouded completely because it is to think I'm not going to be walking in that house in a year from now. The packing, the getting it ready, the landscaping, it's overwhelming,
And you know how much work you put into your house.
I do.
So how much does that mess you up?
So it messes you up quite a bit. I wanted to price it somewhere and I called 3 reputable agents that I trust in this area that I think are the best of the best. And I had them price the house for me. And surprisingly, I was very short on the price because my emotions got the best of me.
Yeah.
Now, I've never been that way in a listing before. So we're going to do a little podcast when it's the realtor selling their own home so that we can relate to buyers and sellers because it is hard to sell your home.
Well, if you're here and people listening now, this is an agent, one of the top agents in the region that had to go to other agents to get opinions because her own opinion was being clouded.
Right.
She needed a third party opinion of someone that knew the area and knew how to price a home.
You're walking around your home and you're seeing your kids little.
Yeah.
You're seeing like all this stuff and
There's
all
no
the
way
things that
you're
are
gonna
ahead. No.
Even with all the Zestimates and the ChatGPTs and the Claudes, it doesn't matter because those systems aren't walking through your home and along with dozens of others in the area and haven't seen the latest trends. They're looking at comps going, oh, that's a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, and it's within 5 miles. Yeah, well, I'm going to use that as a comp.
Right.
When really it can't be used. And so now it's skewing the value, maybe up or down.
Right. I mean, I could have made, this is the thing, man. I'll give you a secret. I'm not selling my own home. I need an agent.
Right.
Because right now I'm a seller and I need an agent and the agent's not me. Like I'm not both. So I strongly agree with that. Like I think the agent brings so much value to selling your home.
Yeah.
And value to, I had an agent yesterday, a buyer that reached out yesterday and he said, the text message was, we've been trying to buy a home for 2 years and we've never gotten an offer accepted. And I did some research on your team and I can tell that you're getting offers accepted and I need some help. Can you get on a call with me? Now, it will be one of my agents that are helping this person, but I did get on the call, and I heard what was happening. And the offers weren't attractive. They were too low. They weren't considering the market and what is going on right now. Only the agent knows that. Only the agent knows that this development's going to bring a lot of buyers. You're going to have, they know the competition in the area.
I think that a lot of people don't realize that they're not involved in the negotiation of their home. They're not involved.
They're not.
It has to be a licensed agent. You could be a for sale by owner and try to negotiate with them. But even then, and by the way, I've been involved with a lot of negotiations. I couldn't even negotiate because there's so many subtle tricks and different things that, and you can't use one scenario for everything.
No.
Every house, every agent that you're dealing with, personalities. ChatGPT can't tell you personalities, how to craft your offer based on the personality. And then past experiences in the neighborhood, comps, like there's so many ways that I've seen you and your team and other great agents negotiate on behalf of their buyer, and they're going to win over somebody that doesn't know how to do it that way.
Absolutely. I mean, I say to a seller, if a repair is necessary, I'm going to be the first one to tell you that you need to do it because it's going to make it more difficult for me to sell later. But if you don't need to do it, I'm going to be the first one fighting so that you don't. And that's the difference. An agent is important. And I think that the media has made it be where they're not.
Yeah, well, they're also trying to downplay the importance of an advisor on the mortgage side, right? Why do I need a loan officer? Who cares?
Right.
I can go on Rocket and I can go to all these. I can get quoted in minutes, and I can. We had the other day somebody did that. They went on. They got quoted. They were under contract, and then that online company came back to her, the lender, and said, "Oh yeah, we lied. You're not qualified."
And it's not just that. There's so much more that goes into a loan. There's HOAs that are all around this area that a local lender knows. You know what's happening with it. You know how to get around it.
We just had this happen.
We just did.
We had a big bank deny a file, and we're working on it now because we know that there's a way to make it still happen.
Right. And what's great? I said to the seller, because I always walk into a listing and I say to the seller, I'm going to always tell you the truth. Sometimes you're not going to like it, but I'm going to tell you the truth. My job's not to placate you and give you false information. It's to educate you. And when we picked that offer with the bank, I said to them, they are not going to be able to close it because I knew.
You knew.
And I told the buyer's agent this, and he said to me, well, I've been using this bank, he's a year in and he wanted to use them. And I was like, okay, but understand they're not going to be able to close it. And if they aren't, are your buyers going to be willing to stay under contract and not ruin this listing? Number one, because of multiple offers, and go to a new lender. And he said yes to me. So not only did I prepare the seller, I prepared the buyer's agent for what was going to happen.
I think it all comes down to one word, and that's experience.
It is.
Think about whatever job you do, any job, it doesn't matter. I mean, you could be, working at Chick-fil-A.
Right.
And when you first start, you don't know anything. Well, by, a year in, 5 years in, I mean, you know everything. You know it all. You know every little subtle difference and everything. You know how to make the fries just right. Great waffle fries.
I mean, I'm very thankful for the broker job because I've learned a lot this year that I didn't think that I was going to learn. When you're seeing all the falls, you see how to prevent them.
That's right.
Right? So I've seen a lot of crazy things over the last year.
All right. I don't know about you, but I'm sick of this winter. Like, we had a little warmth and now it's cold again. So I'm looking forward to the beach.
So am I. It's
All right.
my favorite place.
And we talked about, I know you escape down there.
I do.
A month at a time, and you're way cooler than me. So I'm gonna give you 5 of the hottest bars going right now in the South Jersey Shore area. Sorry, North Jersey. We don't care about you. And then I want you to rank them.
Okay.
All right. All right. Number 1, Boiler Room, Cape May.
Great vibe, great dancing, a little dark, dangerous. I love it there.
Well, what are we ranking it?
I mean, can I hear all the bars first? So I know? No, it's up there. I would say it's probably a 3.
Okay, that's 3. The Honky Tonk Saloon in Wildwood.
This may be the best place to learn line dancing. It is the best country bar. I would probably give that a 4.
That's a 4. Okay. The Windrift, Stone Harbor.
It's an oldie but goodie.
Yeah.
Brings me back to my younger years. Still has a
a
great
long time
vibe.
ago.
It was really long. Great bands. So I'm going to actually put that as a 2.
Wow. Windrift.
Yeah, I like the Windrift.
OG. Okay. Johnny's Cafe, Margate.
It's hard to beat. It really is. I mean, great DJ. If a great DJ's there, I'm not leaving. Like, I'm going to stay there. So, I mean,
Well, it only is number 1 and number 5.
I'm afraid because I don't know what the last one is. I'll give it a 5 because it doesn't always have a great DJ. But when
Gotcha.
it does, I love it.
Depending on the DJ.
Yeah.
Tony Luch, right? Is that
Johnny.
Johnny Luch? Sorry, Johnny.
Now you're really talking about age, but go ahead.
And number 1, the last one, Memories.
Oh, I'm glad because that is so much fun.
Memories Margate.
So much fun. You cannot go there and not have a great time.
So that's your number 1.
It is.
Okay. So that worked out good. I think some honorable mentions. Seaport Pier, Wildwood.
That's a great one.
And of course, near and dear to my heart, La Scala's Beach Bar, Brigantine.
That's a really good time too.
A great
It
time.
is.
Also
Yeah.
live music.
Great music.
Yep.
Yep.
Shout out Rob La Scala. Thanks for building that right near my house down there. Thanks, Tara.
It was great to be here.